and welcome to another Biddle on Saturday night. We have another full house to start. It's awesome. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah,
All
it's all good, thank you.
Yeah.
You must live in a very flexible house.
Well, this week's challenge was Karora, and I'm just going to start out because I don't have much to say about it. Because I tried 3 times to get this installed. All 3 times, the installer froze. So I did talk to Ansem late in the week, and he said that if you unplug all your other hard drives, he was able to get it installed once he did that. But I wasn't going to go. I have a few internal drives that are not on Icy Docs yet, so I'm not going to go in and unplug all my drives just to get something installed. And I even tried to install it in VirtualBox, and that was a no-go either. So it was the first time I have ever had VirtualBox crash on me.
Wow.
So that's my story on Karora. Now, somebody else can tell theirs.
Well, mine's exactly the same. I downloaded it 2 different times and burnt it with 3 different burners. As soon as it fired up, my mouse either went at 3,000 miles an hour or didn't move. Didn't move at all. So I spent, and this is no word of a lie, I spent 25 minutes working my way through the Anaconda installer thinking, if I can just get it on the box, it will work. Great, rebooted, mouse doesn't work. And I even tried wireless mouses, plugging in different mouses. And as I say, either ran at 3,000 mile an hour or didn't move at all. And I'm sitting here trying to bang me mouse to get it across the desk. You know, like this thing, if you bang a mouse on the desk, it works. Yeah, right. We've all been there and done it and gone, if I hit it hard enough.
It's good old CRT logic right there.
So, yeah, unfortunately, Karora was a bust for me as well.
All right.
So
Next, Ollie.
Yeah, well, I didn't have any trouble installing it onto my hardware. It installed quite fine, actually, and ran rather well. But I was also working on my own ISO on the same hardware, so I had to take it off, and I installed it in VirtualBox. The only problem I've had with Fedora is that the update doesn't work. The GUI update, the Drag or something it was called. If you try to run that, it doesn't even show up. I ran it from the terminal, and there's a Python error of some kind. So I did manage to update it using the command line DNF update, and it did update. After that, it worked okay, so far anyway. But that was the only problem I had with it, is the GUI to the package manager isn't working for me at all, and I don't know why. It's just coming up with a Python error.
Well,
Even
go ahead,
after
Dan.
you updated it the first time? Sorry?
Even after you updated it the first time, it still didn't work?
No, the update is still just wants to load. It doesn't even show that it wants to load. If you go into the CLI, then sudo it, it comes up with a Python error, so it just doesn't come up at all. For me, anyway.
Well, I must admit, on normal Fedora, that DNF Dragora thing, whatever they call it, that's the first thing I say, look, don't bother starting up because you don't work. And I do everything from the command line. I've never had that updater perform very well. But it's also the software center or something, isn't it? That DNF trigger. Yes. And maybe it was just me being stupid, but I could never work out how to work it out. So, yeah, command line for me.
Yeah, same here. It's just a lot easier, to be honest.
All right, Chicken, save us.
Hi.
Did you get it installed?
I did get it installed. And one of my biggest complaints about Karora is the same as it's always been, and nothing's changed, is that it's just incredibly bloated. It's great if you want to install it and use every application you could possibly use to do the same job, but I think it's more of a hindrance for most people, and that's probably why it wasn't very big to begin with. It's just that most people probably don't need 3 to 6 web browsers by default.
Now, is this the same set of applications that were on the original project?
I've seen a couple changes, pretty minimal though. So But I haven't used much of the XFCE version in the previous lifetime, I guess you'd call it. So once it was installed, it worked okay for me. It wasn't very quick. I noticed that it was a lot slower than Fedora was on my machine, and that probably just has to do with it being a lot heavier.
Wow. All right. Tyler, did you partake in the challenge this week or what?
No, I did not. I've been on KD Neon for the last 2 weeks.
You demand. That's the only reason I let you in here.
Wow.
Rocking it on the Threadripper.
That's right. How's the new build, man?
It's working beautifully.
And has it appeared slow yet? Because you've had it for 2 weeks now. So is it now appearing slow?
With its 16 cores and 32 threads? Nope, not yet.
Yeah, all right, rub it in.
For those that
I was
don't
going to
know,
say, Tyler, so what does each top look like on that?
It's 2 pages.
Better than K-Sysguard.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. For those that don't know, Tyler did a recent build of a Threadripper. It's a complete build of a PC, and he's loving it.
Nice.
I'm wishing I had one myself, but
Yeah, jealous.
yeah, you know it. All right, Colin.
Team Green for a different reason.
Yeah.
Well, I try to run every distro challenge on Big Daddy Linux Live, if possible. So I'm on Karora 28 today. It installed well once I worked out what I was doing with the installer. And I've installed it, and it seems to be running well. Like Chicken said, there's a lot of applications on there. So, and also the DNF Dragora is a bit slow to start up, but I did find it okay to use, and it seems to have a lot of packages within that package manager as well. So the one I didn't find was Zoom, so I just did an RPM on that. Came up with an error when installing the RPM. Tried installing it twice, but for some reason it was installed, but it had a couple of errors. So I don't know what that was all about. But
Did you file a bug?
No, because I don't know if it was me or the operating system. So I'm not.
Do you still have it installed?
Yeah, I'm running it now.
So one thing I found is that I'm not sure if Zoom shares this property, but one of the things that I've noticed on Fedora-based distros is when it comes to things that have the ability to access like screen sharing or screen grabbing functions, such as Zoom or OBS or even Skype, so there are some dependencies like libx screensaver that you actually need to manually install because they don't get pulled in as dependencies no matter what.
Right.
But you need the 64 and 32-bit of those libraries because welcome to the dark ages.
Wait, of which libraries? I gotta write that down.
libx screensaver. It's not spelled like libx screensaver. It's not like a screensaver thing, but that's just the package name.
So that probably makes sense because it besides the DNF Dragora, the actual screen itself, it popped up another screen that was slightly different. So, and I think it did that twice. So maybe that's what it was doing in the background. And then I don't know, maybe it's just my lack of knowledge on how it works, but it was closing it, trying to reinstall it, and things were popping up left, right, and center. And, but when I went back in there, it just said it was installed. I did a search for it, just installed. So I was a bit surprised that it was. So maybe it was doing some things in the background that I was unaware of. So
a lot of times the program can be installed, but it won't be able to function properly if it can't actually access the system components it needs.
Right. Well, it's working all right here. So I am.
That's good.
On Karora, so it's running. So
it's really strange.
Yeah, must have worked all right. So.
That sounds very much like I work, Colin. You get a problem, so you then try 64 different things. One of them works, and I can't remember which one works. So when I come to the next problem, I try and repeat those 64 things again. When I only probably need to do one.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why I can never file bugs properly. Because can you recreate the bug? What did I do?
I agree.
No,
yeah,
I
agree, Zed. You can't file a bug until you know exactly how you implemented that mistake in the first place. And then when you know how you did it, then you can tell them what happens. No good just going there and saying it didn't work. You need to have the knowledge of why it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but mine's running fine. I'm reasonably happy with it at this point. So,
well, the one thing I noticed, at least booting into it live that it seemed to follow the same Fedora polished look of everything.
That's
so
funny, Rocco.
What? What's
They don't
funny
have
about
a
it?
polished look.
They do. Fedora does have a polished feel to it. Like when you boot into a Fedora machine or you boot into Karora, it has that feel to it. Like it doesn't feel like Ubuntu when you boot into it.
I'll agree.
It just has that feel to it.
Right.
Yeah,
I was
because
saying for a GNOME release, Fedora does feel more polished than Ubuntu with its default theme.
Yeah, I mean, I can't put my finger on it. I can't tell you exactly what it is.
It is a weird feel.
It just feels that way.
No, I'll tell you what, I know what you're talking about, Rocco, because when you first boot in, it looks a little bit similar to the GNOME desktop. It's got the panel on the side, and that's a native panel. It's a native XFC panel, and it's got the other panel up the top, and it looks a little bit like that when you first boot in. Until you start using it, you realise it's XFCE. So I think that's what they've done it quite well, the way it looks out of the box. Yeah.
And Gideon in chat has said, I tried Karora Live and I love the theme. Like always, it's so uniform and polished.
He sees it. I don't know what it is, but he sees it.
I agree.
So what do you think, Dan?
Yeah. I thought it did. I mean, the visual appeal of it is excellent.
Wait, you were successful in getting it installed?
Oh, yeah. No, I got it. It's still running, and I enjoyed it all week.
We need lessons, Rocco.
I know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here,
need some
but
cheap Intel hardware.
Yeah, probably.
It's not much of a lesson there.
I should have tried it on one of the laptops is what I should have tried it on, but
and so the fact that it doesn't work on different hardware, that's a problem for sure. And I don't know. But it's visually appealing. It looks great. I like the panel on the side. I mean, the icon set, the color themes, everything looks good. But Chicken's right. I mean, it's bloated. There's a lot of apps to do the same thing. Just pick one. You only need one to do each thing that you're trying to accomplish.
Right, you get people started and then they can pick what they want.
I would even have a suggestion on where they could go with that is like have a default set of apps and then make it really easy to just one-click switch to different types of app that do the same thing.
Right.
That would be a great way to do it.
Absolutely.
All I'm thinking about right now is remember when the EU versions of Windows 7 had the browser selection?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good old EU.
All right, Matt.
I did not actually get a chance to try that this week, unfortunately.
Matt, you act like you were working a lot all week.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
How dare I adult?
Real life. It's no good.
All right, fine, whatever. John, you got it installed, right?
Yeah, I got it installed. I was really surprised at the number of apps that were there because most of my scripts I didn't have to run because everything was there. I did have to fight with the Anaconda installer a little bit because I haven't seen the Anaconda installer since 2006. Actually, I haven't even been on an RPM distro since 2006. So it was a real learning experience as my girlfriend is laughing at me and going, now you know how I feel every time you change. That's exactly what I was hearing. She was cracking up. She says, I'm loving this. Now you get some of your own editing back.
What, you change everything on her?
What? Not anymore. I bought her a Chromebook. She said she didn't want any part of a PC in my house anymore because I change it every 3 months and she has a fit. So basically, I run primarily old Optiplex hardware. So that's why everything ran.
Yeah.
Old Dells. So I got a buddy that has a refurb shop, one of the largest ones on the internet. I just go down the street and pick a box up whenever I need one.
Nice.
I'm not that much of a gamer, except for Euro Truck. And so, as I told Zeb this morning, all my grandkids, my 3-year-old grandkid looks and says, I don't want to watch you, Paw. I want to watch him. I'm Chromecasting Zeb to the living room.
Absolutely. That's
so there
fun.
you go. Anyway, so that was my experience. But I'll be back on GNOME by 2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
GNOME is your preferred.
my preferred isn't anything with a GNOME desktop. I'm
Nice.
one of your GNOME fans, or Rocco.
Yeah, I do. I'm on Neon, and I'm obviously loving it because I've been on it. But there's times I miss GNOME. Yeah.
Well, that's where I was. I was on KDE Neon before I switched over to GNOME. So I've been the whole gamut. Anything Ubuntu based, I'm pretty much there. But like I said, Fedora based, I'm lost. So anyway,
All right.
it was a good experience.
I could live with either. If one went and I didn't have Neon anymore, I could live on GNOME, and if GNOME wasn't there, I could live on Neon. So either way, I'm fine. All right. Oh my gosh! Look at the waiting room.
Filling
I
up.
am not keeping up with this. And
I'm not getting them. I'm not seeing their names.
Oh well, hold on, Seb. I'm going to fix that for you.
No, yeah.
That is.
While you're doing that, one thing I forgot to mention was the partitioning was extra fun.
Yeah.
That sounds. Please elaborate.
Is that
Dan,
trademarked?
Please elaborate.
Yeah, no. So I wanted to do an advanced partitioning, right? So getting, I had to do way more extra clicks than I have ever had to do before, and it seemed like I went into the partitioning and out of the partitioning and back into it, and then I had to click done a couple times. It was really strange. It was extra. I never had that.
Can I elaborate on that?
Yeah,
Because when you go into the installer, you want to continue, but you got to press done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was confusing.
And you had to do it twice.
Yep.
And then if anything is wrong, you actually get sent back out and then have to go back in.
And it gives you an error, and you're like, wait a minute, I already had that selected.
Right.
That's right. And when you expand the disk and you delete a partition, it closes up again, and you got to expand it again.
Yeah.
It's like, where did everything go? It was it was really confusing. So
And the whole reclaim space thing is super broken. It's really a mess.
So I just found that it was
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And if anybody ever installs it again, don't choose BTLFS. Otherwise, every single spare partition, every single space, every single little piece that you've kept because you want the disk to be able to grow will disappear, and it will just nick it into BTRFS.
No. The problem is that when you make something with BTRFS, you don't choose like the BTRFS like partitioning table or like scheme. They have their own kind of like subvolume. Don't do that, because then it wants to eat everything. Yeah.
Yes.
You can use BTRFS just fine. Just don't use the subvolumes for it, because it will consume your system.
And then it's
That's
a real
kind of a flaw.
to get rid of.
All right. Am I saying it right, Climby?
Yes.
What's going on, man?
Not much. I tried Karora as well. I was watching the show last week. It was my first time on, but
Welcome.
Yep.
Yep.
Everything went well for me. A few thoughts. I agree with everyone that's saying that it's bloated. Definitely too much software that ships there. My choice. I noticed too, like just starting it up and looking at like the task manager, it was using something like 800 something megabytes of RAM, and I'm like, this is an XFCE distro. It's kind of a little heavy.
It was a bit.
Something that's running XFCE. And then I looked at the startup auto start, and there's just so much stuff in there.
Really?
I know a lot of it comes with stock Fedora, but there's also a lot of stuff added too.
Is it stuff that you would remove, that you could get away with removing, that you wouldn't need, or?
Yeah. I noticed they include the, I guess for VMs, they have like the VBox client, the VMware user agent, like running by default. But even after you install it, those things are running. There's like a few things I could see you don't really necessarily need to have there.
Right.
The other thing, I had issues initially. I was the welcome screen, when it comes up after you install, I was reading the README, and they had like the line here saying if you have an NVIDIA card, run the DNF, sudo DNF install akmod NVIDIA drivers, and it pulls them from the RPM Fusion repos because they're now included. And
right.
But when I did that and rebooted, after trying to log in, my screen just went black and I couldn't see the desktop at all. So I had to end up actually going into the bootloader and going into text mode only, run level 3 to get to the terminal so that I could uninstall the NVIDIA drivers. And then I found a Negativo 17 repository that had way better packaged NVIDIA drivers.
Yep.
And when I installed those, it worked perfectly fine. But then I had this issue where after I installed the NVIDIA drivers, I tried to install Steam, and Steam didn't want to run. Apparently, you have to install Steam before you install the NVIDIA drivers.
Oh,
And so I had to reverse the process again.
No, man.
Well, we need a tutorial on this.
Yeah.
Somebody make a video, will they?
Yeah.
And I also had a weird issue where I was trying to use the network manager GUI. Like, it detected I'm on a Wi-Fi card, and like it detected my network. And when I tried to put the passcode in, it just wouldn't connect a few times. And I actually had to go in and manually configure the network. Once I did that, it works perfectly, and every time I reboot, it just works. So I guess that was a weird bug or something. But
Well, that's some good info that the Karora guys should get.
Well, well, okay. So I also installed Fedora's XFC official spin, and it does the same thing. So, but pretty much all these problems I have with Karora, I have with XFCE's official spin. So,
Right.
like the NVIDIA drivers from RTM Fusion, same thing. Steam issue, and the other and the Wi-Fi not automatically connecting. The other thing is the DNF Trigora everyone's talking about. I'm also not a fan. One of the things I don't like about it is it doesn't display version numbers for packages.
yes, it does.
Oh, it does?
There's a scroll bar there.
Okay.
And if you hover over it, the scroll bar shows up, but it's very well concealed and you can scroll over. It took me a little while to figure that out too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I ended up just giving up and using the command line.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Fedora 20 XFC spin, the official spin, it uses much less RAM by default. It was like 538. And a lot of those startup services are still there, but it's still about half what's in Karora. And I just like it better because it's, you get a stock XFC setup and not a whole lot installed by default. So that's actually what I'm running right now is the actual official XFC Fedora 28 spin.
Nice.
Well, before we go any further, hello to all the new EB, Shane, Dave, Dustin.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening, everybody.
I'm sorry I let you in the waiting room so long. I wasn't paying attention.
Completely
Bolted
unacceptable.
the door.
I actually blame Zeb. I think Zeb's the new firewall, quite frankly.
Well, he's usually helping me out, but I didn't give him that permission to help me out when we started it, and then so that was my fault. All right, moving on. Pete, did you try it?
Yeah, I tried the XFC edition. Got it installed. Although I did get one weird error with when I was trying to create my password. It was really strange. It was bad integer value of setting dash minilen. You will have to press done twice to confirm it.
What?
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, it barks if you don't have a long enough passcode.
That's exactly right. Yep.
And you got to hit it. You got to hit done twice.
Yeah,
Yep.
I had
Another one where I had to hit done twice. Yeah.
I had a really long password.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Maybe you had it too long of a password.
Did you have a dash in it or some weird character? Because some of them don't like that either.
Yeah,
They
or
want to have it like secure, but if you try and use Shift 1, which I learned the other day, let's get this right. Is it a bang?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't like that. Or if you use a minus sign or the hyphen sign, some don't like that. It's really bizarre.
There's specific conditions that it does and doesn't like. If it detects a pattern in the password of any sort, it'll warn you against that because that's a potential risk. What I did notice was that it didn't stop you from actually doing that, though. If you use the official Fedora ones, the last I recall, it won't even let you create it if it runs into an error like that.
Right.
So the fact that you were able to move forward is pretty impressive.
It does now. You
Regular
just have to click done twice. but-
Okay, they fixed that then.
Mhm.
Yeah, it gives you a little yellow strip right along the bottom telling you that it's a weak password or something.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
EB, did you get a chance to try out Karora or no?
To be honest, Big Daddy, I didn't know because I'll be honest, I've got zero interest. I've used older versions of it before, and I think if you're going to use as a noob a Fedora-based distro, I think it's probably amazing. I didn't try the new one out because I'd never put it on my desktop and I'd never use it as a daily driver, quite frankly. So
Me neither. I'm just saying.
yeah, I know it does have its fans. I know it is a good distro, but I just think it's unnecessarily complex and finicky for a new user. If you know what you're doing with Fedora, great. Hey, you can knock yourself out, fill your boot. But you know, if you're average, ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill ho-hum noob, all you're doing is putting a whole load of headache on your PC, aren't you? Really? So,
Well, I was surprised, Zeb. You guys interviewed Matthew Miller, and although Karora does some steps to help, newer users out more than Fedora, but I was surprised to hear him say that he felt that Fedora was for new users.
Yeah. But then if you think about it, he's been on Fedora for the last 6-7 years, so he's not going to say anything else. You could have the most complicated OS in the world, and a developer and or a project manager for that package is going to come on. Of course, they're going to say it's for the new user. They've made it slightly easier now by allowing the inclusion of repos, sort of thing, but even then, you've still got to run some weird sudo command to enable that Fedora manager or whatever they call it, so that you can install the NVIDIA drivers and you can install Google Chrome. So, no, I don't agree that it is user-friendly. I think you've got to be at least a medium Linux user, someone who's had an experience of running all sorts before you can start to understand some of the problems you're going to run in with Fedora. But yeah, as for Matthew Miller saying it's noob friendly, we didn't expect him to say anything else. It'd be like me coming on and saying peppermint, experts only. It's not going to happen, is it?
Maybe it was context of a new Linux user versus a new, what am I trying to say here? Someone who's had exposure to Linux but still is new to that distro. Maybe that's what he meant.
Mm-hmm,
Maybe.
possibly.
Maybe. All right, Shane, did you try it, Karora?
I tried it a little bit, but I ended up going back to Arch after trying it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm on pure Arch, actually.
Nice.
Wow. That's a switch. All right, so you didn't care for it, I take it?
No.
Or were you having issues?
I didn't have any issues with it. I just honestly, I tend to prefer GNOME.
Right.
But when I first started Linux, it was when Fedora was still called Fedora Core. So that was my first distribution that I ever used. So
Everyone should sound off what was number one for everyone.
Yeah. Funny you should say that, though, Shane.
I agree.
Because I noticed that in the community part of Karora, you could click on a GNOME version. So I thought, yeah, I'll try that. And it installs XFCE. So even if you don't download the GNOME version, it installs XFCE. So I thought, okay, well, that's one way of curing problems with GNOME. Just don't install it.
I told you it looked like GNOME out of the box. Maybe they're confused. Oh,
there you go.
Best GNOME experience ever.
That's
it.
Just
All right.
today.
Dave, the Brewers won. You're muted. You're muted.
Dave.
Or you're not. Maybe you're not muted. Your just sound's not on.
No sound.
Pulse audio.
No.
Using FreeBSD.
No sound.
He is pretty excited the Brewers won, though.
Yeah.
We need to get someone lip reading.
So I'm not even going to ask Dustin. You probably didn't try Karora this week.
What gave it away?
It might be the tagline in your name.
Maybe.
Was that the XFCE version you gave away? Just a thought.
Maybe.
Probably not. I seen a update from Sean Davis though. He's putting a lot of work into XFC.
Wow, really?
He's had a pretty good run so far in the last version.
Yep. Getting ready for 1810, and he's doing a lot of things that I like, the look of it, the padding, the little things that make the distro look polished. The padding between everything and the size of the way the icons show up as far as the buttons. A lot of stuff like that. You'll have to check out the blog post that he made on bluesaber.org, and it'll show you like screenshots of before and after of what it looked like and what it looks like now. And, some people might say, oh, well, that's like nothing. But that goes a long way in the end for what the distro actually looks like and runs like. So,
I'm just concerned that once they go fully GTK3, will they end up a little bit bloated like Mate did? Because Mate was definitely lighter and ran quicker and smoother when it wasn't fully GTK3. And I don't know whether... You're going, Chicken?
It's inherently going to be just a little bit bigger because the toolkit itself is just a little bit bigger. It can do a lot more things. It's got a lot more in it, but they're still working on keeping it modular in the way that it is and separating things out. And so I'm sure that they're probably going to be able to trim it down to the things it needs to do and not just have everything.
Now, I'm not an expert on the toolkits and everything, so how does that work? Like you, Chicken, you said the toolkit's bigger and can do more. Does that mean there are more processes running, or is that just allow things to do more things?
It's not necessarily tied to processes running, and more so just what kinds of functions can be run and what kinds of things can be done by the desktop itself.
So the availability to do things is more...
not necessarily things that are actually running, but just...
So how does that affect it then? Because I noticed that Mate used to run at sort of like 550 to 600 or 750, depending on what hardware you have. But now you get people talking about it running at 950 and 1,000. So if they're not...
That's heavy for Mate.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So if they're not running, why are they making it so heavy?
I've never had that.
That might not be related to the toolkit at all. That could just be from different versions of Mate having different applications that default to running. It could depend on whether they're snap packages or not. There's a whole wacko. Like you can't really compare one version to the next one because things change, defaults change. Like, obviously I can only speak more in context of Budgie from what we did. But for example, in 1710 or 1804, we stripped out half of the GNOME applications that used what the heck is their daemon that's in the background. We basically ripped them out because it would just kill things. And as soon as we took out that one daemon and moved all the apps that don't do that, we dropped down by a couple hundred megs just sitting idle, just on that alone. So you got to compare version to version, not necessarily from one to the other.
One to the other, and as you say, give them a couple of months or half a year running fully GTK3, and they'll be able to find, like you said, bits and pieces to just bring them back down to a nice lightweight level.
Well, assuming that whatever went up is because of GTK3, what I'm saying though is from say 1710 to 1804, they could have changed something that with default applications that maybe made it heavier. Maybe they've added something. Maybe they changed out a file manager. Maybe they changed the default, whatever.
Yeah.
Mate's also gained a lot of functionality in the past few years.
Like if you look at things like the HUD, the HUD alone, like was that in the older version where you're talking about it running later, But that's obviously not Martin's target is being a lightweight distro. I mean, he used to do Raspberry Pi builds. I don't know if he's still doing that now. I don't know if it could I would assume it can run on there, but I mean, things change. They add different things. And I think it's probably that more than the toolkit.
They've got all the panel changes, a lot of the compositors in the background as well. I don't know if that makes any difference, but they've got the Compton and the Marco and all those other things. Maybe they make a difference too.
Well, the more that's running, the more it does make a difference. It's just simple process count.
So there will be a difference between them, but there's definitely other factors. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Dave, you get your sound working?
I think I did.
Yep.
For some reason, it's the first problem I've had dealing with that microphone, but I haven't had to use it before because I'm actually in Karora as we speak. I've been in it for most of the week.
So you got it installed then?
Yeah, my
More than I did.
experience, honestly, just roll back the scene about 5 minutes and listen to Climb Me Again. That's exactly what I went through. The only thing I would add would be when you log into that black desktop, all I had to do was go in and delete xorg.conf file, the configuration file for Xorg, and the NVIDIA drivers work fine. They just won't take a configuration file anywhere in the X11 folder. You just have to let them run natively, and I haven't had any issues with it.
Mm.
There you go.
Weird.
I wonder why they won't take a config file.
I don't know. I saw on one website that part of the problem was that NVIDIA settings sets up more than just the video. But even when I went in and stripped out everything except the video settings, it's still black screened when I logged in. But if I take out the configuration file, they run fine for everything. And once I figured out that I had to put Steam on before I installed the drivers, that drove me crazy for a while. But it's actually been nice getting back into an RPM distro because the setup script that I'm building gave me the experience to go back in and rebuild that part of that script. So it's been good for me.
So these Steam issues that you've been having, was there anything to do with SW-RAST not working?
No. When I went to install Steam, it said that there were dependency issues. I think it was library XMU and a couple others that I couldn't get installed until I took the NVIDIA drivers out. Then for shits and giggles, I tried to install Steam and it went in nice and clear and fine. Once it was installed, I was like, oh, what the heck? Try it for grins. Reinstalled the NVIDIA drivers and they installed fine, started working again. For some reason, it just, you need to do it in that order to get the dependency issues straight.
Yeah.
And yet on Fedora, the first thing I always do on any distribution is install the NVIDIA drivers. Then I installed Steam. I had an SRAST error, so I've got in my simple note now. You'll be proud of me, Rocco. I'm starting to make notes. I've actually got the sudo DNF installed, NVIDIA settings, kernel, dev level, DKMS, blah, 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 and a whole raft of things that it needed. Install those, fire up Steam, and it works. So it's really bizarre how different hardware works different ways with different OSs. And that's probably the most confusing thing for new users. You go onto the internet and you can get 40 answers as to what the solution to the problem is. And then you've got to work your way through those 40 answers to get the one that works for you. Really frustrating.
I would just like to say that Fedora did message me this week. The CEO was quite shocked, and he was complaining you had not got a Fedora box at the back of your head. So you may want to address that.
Well, Dustin, you had said about everybody put a shout for what distro they started on, and I think that's a good idea. So I started on so my first experience was Ubuntu, which I didn't stay on because it was really completely different from Windows. But my first I don't remember what the distro was, and I'm thinking it was Linux Mint. I'm not sure, but it was KDE 3.5 that I started on, and I don't remember the distro. Zeb?
Well, mine was Ubuntu, I think in 2009, and I didn't really get on well with that. And then I went straight over to Mint. And for me, still, one of my best experiences I ever had was, I think, Mint 10 or 10.10. I don't know what their version numbers were back in those days. And then, believe it or not, I spent a couple of years on PC Linux OS.
Wow.
Before I knew any better.
Yeah.
All right, Ali, what was your first distro?
My first distro was Slackware, and that was running kernel 0.99, patch level 1, and it was on 13 floppy disks, and that was 1993, 94, somewhere around there.
Oh my gosh.
So I've been around Linux quite a while, yeah. I'm on PC Linux OS now, Rob. You know that anyway.
Did you guys see that video in the Telegram group about that guy? What the heck's his name? On YouTube, and he went through installing the 13 floppy disks.
Yeah.
Oh,
did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Gary Explains, I think, his channel.
Yeah, something like that.
Explains. Yeah.
I take it was like that experience.
Exactly like that. Do some boot floppies, yeah. The first two floppies was your boot floppy, and then you had to swap it for your root file system, and then install it after that, and then back to forwards. Yeah. Good day.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I just want to say, like, even though we don't need it, that the ability to do something like that, to like pick off from like where one disk left off and just continue a process is really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if we could. I don't know if we could do that today.
Well, we don't
in
need
today's computers, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
There must be some kind of error.
Recovery disks actually work that way. A lot of times, when you don't have enough space on a disk, it'll just have something that tells it to go to the other disk.
Yeah, man, you got to load everything in RAM in order to be able to flop disks because you can't be reading from that anymore.
It's really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think all it does really is the application that's loaded in RAM is just looking for a specific file, and if it doesn't find it, it just prompts you simply put the next disk in, and then it looks for it and scans it, and if it doesn't find it, it'll tell you to put the next one in. I think that's
what it actually loads into memory is kind of like a file system of what disk everything is on, so it knows what disk to ask for to get to each file. It goes through the list of when it gets to this file, go to this disk. When it gets to this file, go to this disk. So the first disk actually has like a master of where the other files are located, what disk they're on.
It's basically a text file.
Yeah,
probably got a manifest of some kind.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
Table of contents.
Manifest is, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's exactly the same way as Slackware installs now, exactly the same way as it did back then. The installer doesn't look different to me.
Huh? That's
How strange is that?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I haven't tried it.
Same in-person installer, I promise you.
Yeah, that's probably why I haven't tried it. Chicken, what was your first distro?
6 minutes of Ubuntu.
6 minutes.
I had a really weird experience where I didn't make any backups and I had no fallback. I just installed the first thing I found on the server.
That doesn't sound like you at all.
No, not at all. I'm normally very prepared and a very responsible human being. So yeah. My girlfriend's laughing at me.
I know why. Tyler?
So my first exposure was Ubuntu 6.06. My first successful try was Ubuntu 6.10. And I think my biggest trial in terms of getting everything working was some obscure wireless chips that I had back in the day.
Right.
Scouring the internet just to try to find the drivers to stuff into Indis wrapper.
Yeah, Indis wrapper.
Yep.
Indis wrapper.
Colin?
Somebody on the internet sent me a couple of discs, and that was, I think it was Red Hat 9 and Knoppix. So I played around with those and was struggling. I sort of got Red Hat working, but then I was given a Fedora Core 6, and I used that for a little while and absolutely struggled for a while. And then I came across, I think it was Ubuntu. So,
Dan?
Yeah, so my first distro was Red Hat, but it was before Fedora, so Fedora didn't exist back then. So
That's right.
It would have been 95, I think, 1995, somewhere around there.
Roughly Red Hat 5 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 5. Yeah. I think it was 5 something, maybe 5.1.
5.2 for 5.1.
Yeah.
5.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Red Hat 5 as well.
Yep.
That's right, yeah. There was Red Hat at the same time that Mandrake came out.
Yep.
With their Red Hat for newbies, as I would call it, because the installer on Mandrake was really polished compared to Red Hat at that time.
Yeah, it was.
All right, Matt, Dark One.
Jeez, Rocco, don't sound so enthusiastic about that.
I had to with you. I had to with you.
Actually, speaking of Mandrake was my first distro. So I believe it was 5.2, 5.3, one of them. So we're talking 99, 98, somewhere around there.
All right, John.
Oh, mine was Red Hat, then Fedora, then SUSE, then Ubuntu.
And when did you start with Red Hat, John?
2002.
2002. I don't know. I don't remember like the year. I'd have to find out when 3.5 came out to actually pinpoint when I actually started, because I don't have a year. I don't remember things like that.
Well, when I can't remember that, I just go back onto the Ubuntu forums, because that's the first Linux forum I ever joined. And that tells me that I joined in 2009, so that's the only way I can remember.
That's the nice thing about Ubuntu version numbers is they're year.month, so you can generally get an idea of when you started.
Right. Climby?
So I had an interesting experience. I had a friend introduce me to Linux back in 2006, and he was explaining to me the concept of live environments, which I found really interesting. And his first recommendation was damn small Linux. So I loaded up the live environment, and I thought, hey, this is interesting. It's not something I'd attempted to install, but and then after that, I discovered Ubuntu 6.06. Tried that for a while, and it was okay. I found out about Kubuntu. And tried that, the good old KDE 3.5 desktop, and I really liked that, and I stuck with that for a while. Also wanted to briefly mention to present ARMS that I did try his Trinity spin.
Okay.
Last week. I didn't have, the only issue I had was right after I installed it, I had Xorg crash, but it fixed itself when I updated the system. I just plugged in my Ethernet cable, updated it, rebooted it, was fine. Some Trinity things aren't updating for me, just throwing some errors.
That's been fixed now, because at the moment, at this time, uploading a brand new ISO, because Trinity has updated from 04 to 05. So I've made a brand new ISO, and I've listened to what was said last week, and I've put a lot of more printer drivers in, because I can't remember her name, bless her. She gave me a list of things that nearly flew off her monitor. She really did last week. And I've sorted a lot of things out. The sound should be working again and all that kind of business. So,
But
Barbara, was it?
There's been a lot of updates.
Barbara,
Barbara, that's right. That's correct,
The only, I don't know if I could live in it because of the PC Linux OS repos. It has nothing to do with your spin in particular. It's just PC Linux OS. Just not enough software available in the repos by default. That's my only issue.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I've had words over that before. But the way the repos, the way it works in PC Loss at the moment, you can ask, if there's a specific package that you might need, you can ask the package manager to package it. And within a day, it's normally in the repo for you anyway. So, I don't know when the packages that I install, I do install outside the repo as well, a couple of packages that aren't actually on the PC Linux OS itself. And if they have any problems, they come to me directly then with the problems with those, because they're not part of the PC Linux OS. If you see what I mean. Yeah.
It was definitely a blast from the past looking back at Trinity and getting that KDE 3.5 experience all over again.
Oh, yeah.
Really
talking to KDE 3.5, Rocco, it came out in November 2005.
Yeah, Chip had mentioned that. So I had tried Ubuntu the year before that. And like I said, I installed it, or I installed it on another drive. And then it was like I was looking at it, but I couldn't get to my files. I didn't know nothing about it. So it was cool that I could install this new operating system, but there was nothing I could do with it.
Nah.
So I just booted back into Windows, and then I later revisited it and stuff. So One of those was with the Wooby installer.
You once you had the Wooby install, you could install inside like its own file system on top of Windows. That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then later it was KDE 3.5. So I guess it was around 2005. So
The first thing I remember doing was trying to compile audio drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like fun.
I don't think my audio ever worked.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was 97.
But as good as Wintel modems.
All right, Pete.
Are we talking server or desktop?
Desktop.
Desktop, I think it was Ubuntu GNOME, but I had a kind of a job where we have boring times of the day, so I would just switch distros.
So you're a distro hopper from way back.
Yeah, doing it on my main work machine.
Gosh. All right, EB, what was your first distro?
It was in the Jurassic period, and it was when I was running SCO Unix, and I stumbled across Red Hat because we were using it as a back-end server for a point-of-sale system. And I thought, oh, this looks good. What's that? Let's have a bit of this. And I put something like IceWM or something weird on it, and it, you know, I mean, at the time, I think it was on Windows Server 2000, so, and it was just so alien. I thought, oh, so my first true distro, to be honest, is Puppy Linux, and I just fell in love with it because I needed a Linux distro I could take with me and keep with me all the while, because in a work environment, I was forced to use Windows NT 2000, all that sort of stuff. So, and for some reason, I just instantly connected with Puppy and realized how cool it was. I mean, don't forget, back in the day, you know, USB thumb drives cost like $5,000 and 128 meg that were tiny. So, and that was it. Later on, I kind of fell in love with Mepis as well, which is often a forgotten distro, which is now, of course, MX Linux. I really was impressed with Mepis. But no, yeah, for me, it was Puppy Linux. I just loved it.
All right, Shane?
Again, it was a Fedora core, I believe back in 2004. But then I ended up trying a Linux distro I actually bought at an old CompUSA store. It was a SUSE Linux Professional 9.2. And that was with KDE. And then went to Ubuntu with the GNOME 2 interface. And when they went toward Unity, I started leaning more towards back to Fedora or just straight Debian to get GNOME back. So.
Okay. Dustin?
Well, it was Red Hat 5. So December of 97, I think, is when that came out, and it was just compiling drivers. This felt like all I ever did on it. And then probably by Red Hat 8, I had it production servers, so I still got in, I guess, sort of early, but not that early.
All right, Dave?
Other than Dan and Present Arms, you all make me feel really, really old because I'm a DOS baby from like 79 is when I got started in DOS. Early 90s, before Windows even was a thing, Red Hat off of floppy disks.
Yeah.
And then probably 95 or 96 when SUSE, because there was no open SUSE, on CDs, because they were the new hot thing. You know, you could actually get an operating system on CDs instead of floppies. So, but Red Hat on floppies in the early 90s.
Nice.
The first machine I actually used Christoph, so TRS-80.
Trash 80s?
Yeah.
Trash 80 Model 1, and then I went from that to a Model 3.
I actually had at one point a Timex Sinclair 1000, a little keyboard about this big.
Cool.
That you hooked to your television, and you actually, your memory was a cassette recorder.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
It had
1 kilobyte of
2K.
RAM.
It had 2K
Well, yeah.
of RAM.
You had double the RAM we had over here. We only had 1K over here.
My Atomic Sinclair was really hot. It had 2K of RAM.
Yeah.
It's a shame Popey isn't here because he would be talking about the same stuff.
Yeah, that's because he has it running on his desk right now.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, no, when I got started back in '79, the floppies were 11 inches across.
Yeah.
And my mom laughed at me because she got started back in the day when it was all punch cards.
Uh-huh.
Right.
There's a Michael Tennell sighting.
It's a vicious rumor.
Uh-huh.
There's no proof, no evidence.
No evidence.
Lexdigital.com/Amazon.
Well, you can join in on this, Michael. What was your first distro?
Linux distro, Debian, 1999. I actually saw an episode of Screensavers on the ZDTV in '98, and it had Linus talking about Red Hat and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to try this. And then I go and try to look at it. I was like, this is gigantic. I'm not going to try this. And then it took me like a year until I found a friend who had cable or something. So then I downloaded on their network.
I have to say, is it really bad that I remember back on Overclockers forums when the devs for Ubuntu first started creating it? They went to the Overclockers forums or a couple different forums asking for people to test out their new operating system. And it's like there was no Ubuntu and Kubuntu. It was all just Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
bad.
How's that bad?
That's not bad.
Well, you're not alone. It's okay.
I mean, I remember that too.
Yeah.
I mean, not the forum thing, but I remember them asking people to help. I don't think I was on that forum or anything.
All right.
I thought it was a glorious day. Hey, Debian, that's actually usable. Pretty fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
New guy, Tuckstop.
Hi guys. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yep.
Thanks for having me, Rocco.
Sure.
It's my first
You're
time.
welcome.
I've been to the show a few times, so I really enjoyed it. So I thought I'll join in. Say hi.
Well, welcome.
Oh, thanks.
Well, you can start out by just finishing the conversation. What was your first distro?
It was Fedora core. Back then, it was still called Fedora Core. Probably back in 2004, my Windows crashed. I lost a bunch of documents I was working my proposal on, and luckily, I had a few good friends who helped me get started on Fedora. And then I stuck with Fedora Core for many years, and kind of wanted to look elsewhere and see what else is out there. So tried Ubuntu, Debian, and back to Fedora. And then the past couple years, it's been mainly Arch.
All right.
Nice.
Well, Dave, you were saying about how Ubuntu was asking for testing, and they're still kind of asking for testing now, because I just seen a Softpedia article where they're asking for help testing the NVIDIA driver support on 1810. So if anybody wants to help out with that, you should go help them test it. I know I'm going to try to help test it out, because that's like one of the biggest issues nowadays is the NVIDIA drivers.
Just hurry up, because you got 2 days left.
That's all you got?
You got 2 days left. Yeah.
5 days.
Oh, 5 days, is it?
Yeah, 5 days.
They extended it?
No. Just 5 days.
Because the Ubuntu development in Telegram, I think it went through the 9th or 10th.
Yeah, that's different. The Ubuntu development is that. The Ubuntu NVIDIA specific testing is until the 13th.
I thought you said it was going to.
12th.
I thought you said it was going to run out on the Wednesday.
Yeah,
which is the 12th. Yeah,
right. Which is
of course, because you're still on Saturday. I'm only talking Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yes, a 4 day.
Okay.
All right, future man.
Yeah, well, I'm using freedom time.
Not squid time?
No.
There is only one time, GMT.
No,
everybody else bases it off of GMT.
There is one time.
Rhyme with sandwich.
-5.
Even UTC based itself off of GMT.
Hey guys, can we argue Fahrenheit and Celsius next?
Yes, because that's freedom units.
Yes. How about also
Kelvin?
millimeters?
No, Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Is that a new user? Where is he? I can't see him.
It's funny because I usually use GMT unless I know the person I'm talking to is American.
American.
There you go.
American.
No, there's no first syllable. It's just American.
American.
Yep. Starts with the M. American.
All right, so we all tried out Karora, or most of us, I should say, excluding Matt.
You're
or
very
Michael.
presumptuous, aren't you?
Tried out Karora, but we are going to have to decide on a distro for next week.
Mm-hmm.
So last week we talked about maybe doing Linux Mint Debian. It was a toss-up. So what do you guys suggest we try? Do you want to go with Linux Mint Debian 3? Or do you want to try a different distro this week?
Well, it's actually been released now, so it might be a little bit more stable. I think it was still in beta, or had only just gone last week. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm up for Linux Mint Debian.
Be willing to
Yeah,
give it a
I
try.
can do that.
Yeah.
All right. So I've already got that installed, and
Yeah, you had that installed like on Tuesday.
that makes my life so much easier, dude.
I knew there was a reason he was going to pick that.
I didn't pick it. I asked you
In the
guys what you
Telegram
wanted.
group, his install of Karora failed 3 times, and he said, "Screw it, I'm going to Linux Mint."
I thought he was kidding.
I might have done that.
Okay, everyone, let's just compromise and use Nutix.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
It's LFS based. Everybody's gonna love it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so Linux Mint Debian 3 next week. I'm gonna. You have a link, Zeb?
Linux Mint.
So Linux Mint Debian. Yeah.
No, for the download, not for Linux Mint's page.
Postdigital.com/LMDE3.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
There we go.
KDE on what?
We made it an hour and 2 minutes in.
Well, technically, as soon as I joined, someone said it for me, so it's okay.
Speaking
Yes,
of
I
KD
did.
Neon, you can now you can now test the upgrader if you'd like. If you're on the regular KD Neon that's based on 1604.
That is fantastic, and I'll wait.
Yeah, but
You don't want to test it out?
No, don't.
No, that's soulless. Never mind.
I don't mind testing it in general, but I don't want to test it on this one. I don't want to
I've
lose
been
everything
on
for
the,
2.5 years.
I've been on the Bionic preview for the last 2 weeks since I put my build together.
Yep. And?
Been running solid.
See? I know.
Welcome back to the Plasma team.
This is the preview build that I've been on for the last, I don't know, since I switched. A couple weeks at least 3 or 4. And it's been rock solid totally all the way. So can we do the challenge on KD Neon?
Running since Alpha 1.
I've just stuck the Linux Mint Debian link in the main chat.
Yep.
And the man Carl Schneider is saying we should all do Solus 3.9999999999999.
That's not going to end
If
well.
they had their new ISO, I'd be inclined to say yes, but it's not ready just yet.
It's not ready yet. I was going
If
to
they
say,
had the 9999 out, I'd do it. But
I've got that on my Galago Pro already, so.
mm-hmm.
I'll wait for the next 9.
Now,
Their
the
current ISO is just 3.
Yeah. The frustrating thing about that, you're talking about that 3.99999. If you go Q4OS, they have a new testing version out now, which is the next one on. And you try and load any of their like specialist installer scripts with inside it. And it says, this doesn't work. It needs a minimum of version 2.99999. And they're now on version 3. So they haven't remembered to go back in and alter all of their scripts not to look for version 2.99999.
well, Solus is putting out the 3.99999 because they're switching over all their servers.
Yeah.
And they're just updating the ISO to the new servers.
They've got a really
the
nice
proper
board.
URLs.
They've got a really
Yeah.
nice board.
And they've got to do that because if you install from the old ISO, it will still point to the old
Right.
servers and you just won't be able to upload it. So it's going to save you, I don't know, 800 to 900 megabytes worth of downloads on updates.
Yeah, on that
Thankfully.
point, it's just been a necessity for a long time. It's been over a year since their last
Mhm.
ISO.
Yep.
And for a rolling system, that's nearly unacceptable.
And it was
that's
a
fine.
year ago
That's
I
fine.
first installed it.
Yeah, Intergos does a once a month refresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does Arco.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Michael. Did you say Intergos? What was that?
That's a bad word around here.
I looked for Barbara before I said it. It's okay.
Say, it's not Barbara's favourite distro. Even the cat sort of starts shrieking.
Yeah, where is Barbara this week? I didn't hear if she was coming or not, and she's not here. What's up with that?
She got stuck trying to get Karora installed and can't get on.
Probably.
So that's going to be our new favourite. But in deference to Michael, Karora Cinnamon not Karora Cinnamon, Antigos Cinnamon is a brilliant distro.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously good. It knows how to work DPI. As Shikin said to me the other day, anything that runs Cinnamon should be pretty good running DPI, but it's just awesome. It just works. It's a fantastic distro.
Yeah,
not as good as Peppermint, but it's good.
Understandably so. It's the second, the main DE that Intergos does is Gnome, and then there's Cinnamon's like the second favorite one.
I have to say, Zev, that last comment just save your backside. I was just onto some shady characters in the East End of London.
No. Peppermint's always going to be number one. You know that.
Yeah, well, we've had a few other suggestions like Shark Linux. Mr. Diffie says we should try Shark Linux.
What even is Shark Linux?
You go to Shark Linux website and check it out.
I think it's Debian based, isn't it?
What you want to try and do, Shikin, is try and find the very first ISO that they put out for Shark Linux. But when you do, make sure you wear your sunglasses.
The site literally has a loading thing.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. I have never seen such appalling theming as I saw when Sudo Reboot did a VBox of Shark Linux. It was atrocious, seriously bad. The underlying OS was pretty good, but the theming was, I don't know if you remember it, EB, but it just looked appalling. It really did look bad.
Well, he says the latest one's awesome.
Yeah, well, the latest, the underlying OS was great. So as long as they've sorted out the theming,
Well, I've got something really funny for you. There's a little question mark on the website that says, why install Shark Linux OS? And it just takes you to a blank page that says error establishing a database connection.
No, I think we just crashed it. I think we just crashed the website.
OS.org, and it says error establishing a database connection. Exactly what I've got.
Yep.
No, I had tried it just 2 minutes ago, and it was working. So I think when you get more than 3 people on the website, it crashes the whole thing.
We broke it.
You can still download it from SourceForge. It says it was last updated 3 days ago.
There was a whole list of reasons why you should use Shark Linux. I'm just saying.
None of them were valid.
I didn't. Yeah, no.
If you remember, though, that's what we did to Alistair's server when we did his Trinity. It was taking 15 hours to download the ISO.
It stayed up.
Well, we were getting like 4 kilobytes a second there.
Yeah, I know.
We absolutely murdered his website for him. So if you want to keep your website up, don't ask Big Daddy Linux to do a distro.
No, I don't mind. You carry on. At least it stayed up. It stayed up.
See, it's there now. It's there now. Check it out, Chicken.
There it is.
Well, there's a notice right at the top of this page that says there's issues.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that scares you.
I've got a circle now with 0%.
This has been rectified in all current install media.
Which Shark as a service is the no.
Shark as a service is the main reason why you should use Shark Linux. Chicken. Anyway,
the Jaws theme music when it first boots up.
Or it just says fish or friend, not food.
Oh, God.
Or as I tell my daughter, fish off food, not friends. And we get arguing back and forth.
Well, Michael, you're right. I think I'm going to download it myself and try it out this week. It may not be the distro challenge, but I think I'm going to try it.
Yeah, I downloaded it just for, testing. Why not?
Giggles.
Once Rocco gets it, it'll be next week's distro.
I'll let you know how it goes.
When Linux Mint Debian crashes on him 3 times, he'll switch over to Shark Linux.
Actually, what you guys need to do on one of your tries that's Debian based, you guys got to put the Suicide Linux package on there for the following challenge.
The what package?
Suicide Linux. So it started as a distro, but then they packaged it as a Debian package.
yeah.
And what it is the moment you type any command wrong, it rm-rfs your root.
Wasn't it supposed to just randomly delete things?
No, it's supposed to be when you type any command even remotely wrong, it just blows your whole hard drive away. It used to be a full Linux distro, and then they transitioned it over to a Debian package.
Okay. Because I think it was like the full distro they were doing, like they would just randomly pull pieces until eventually it would break your system.
Well, I'm looking at their page right now, and it basically just says anytime you type any remotely incorrect command, the interpreter creatively resolves it to rm-rf/ and wipes your hard drive. It's a game like a walking tightrope.
How long?
Yeah,
I love how they call it creatively resolves.
Yeah,
As long as it only deletes the hard drive you're working on. And
Well,
not
it's going
everything
to be
else.
/root, whatever your root is mounted.
Maybe I shouldn't be downloading Shark Linux while I'm streaming. Just saying.
Well, I just clicked in it. I think there's too many people clicking it because it says URL not found for the daily driver.
I couldn't get the daily build either, Zeb. I had to go with the SourceForge link.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Michael is porting it to tuxdigital.com forward. Probably why you got
His
the-
Amazon influencer page.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah. All right, what else we got? My printer issues. Remember I was talking last week? Well,
Yeah.
maybe not everybody knows about it because I think it was after we ended the stream. I was talking about the HP printer problems that I was having.
Mhm.
And on one of my family machines, and I couldn't get the printer installed. It kept saying the service was not running. And long story short, went through 1,000 different things and couldn't get it. So I figure we're going to reformat. We're going to put Ubuntu Mate back on. So I do that. I reinstall Ubuntu Mate, and the printer comes up. As soon as I boot into the system, the printer comes up, and it works perfectly. And then a day later, it goes right back to the cup service not running, failed, blah, blah, blah stuff. And now it won't work again.
Did you log a bug?
Nope. Are you crazy?
Shock and awe.
Is it a printer driver issue?
Well, if you download the HP lip official drivers from HP, it will run the installer and it will not recognize that cups is installed. So it'll say that it needs a dependency, but then when it says to install it and you say yes, it won't install it. So it'll end up failing, cutting out.
Isn't there like a universal HP driver in the Ubuntu repos?
Yep. But the problem is not the driver as far as the cup service is not connecting.
Did you contact Apple?
No, I didn't. Should I, Michael?
Well, yeah, they make cups, so you should
okay.
ask them about it and see what they think.
No, it just says, like, if you go into the printer management area, it's grayed out, and it just says the cup service is not running, and you can hit connect, but then it has an error trying to connect. It just won't run. So you run like status, I forget whatever the commands are to find out, and it says cups has failed to start or something like that.
Is this on every distro?
I was going to say,
No.
is this every distro? Yeah.
Well, like I said, I don't know how many distros this is like this on, but this is definitely on Ubuntu Mate. And I reinstalled it, and it worked fine for a day, and then it went right back to, I don't know if it was with an update or what, but it went right back to the cups not running errors.
Did you look at the cups log?
No, I'm not that technical to look at the cups log.
Is your printer
just
attached
curious.
directly to your computer, or is it on a network?
Yeah. No, it's attached directly to it.
Did you restart the service?
Yes. Or
Have you
tried.
tried turning it off and turning it back on?
Yeah. I mean, I went through all of the commands of enabling the cup service, starting it, stopping it, reinstalling it, reconfiguring it, everything that I could find on the internet, on Google, I tried, and nothing seemed to work. And that was my last resort to reinstall everything. And then, like I said, it worked great for the first day, and then it didn't.
You tried wireless. Did you try running over wireless network?
No, because there's no wireless card in there.
Oh.
Have you tried routing it or running it through your router instead of directly to your computer?
No, I have not tried doing that.
And I remember I haven't had a reason to mess with cups, but I remember that you could access cups via browser, localhost. I forget what the port number
631.
is. So
Yeah.
maybe you could try that. And
When I put that in the browser, it said could not connect.
Right, because
the browser gave an error.
Yeah, if you can't get the service running, you won't be able to get to the administration page.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
Yeah, there was all kinds of things that and of course when you go to type in Google, like the first 8 posts of cups service not running is from like 2004, 2008. You know,
Well,
it's like
it hasn't really changed.
Switch over
They're really
to DuckDuckGo.
You should have tried Bing. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You should do a quick.
It was DuckDuckGo. It's a term. Actually, we tried Start Page.
Try a quick scan of your wireless network, Rocco, and just see if you can print out the LFS handbook on your neighbour's wireless printer. That'll go down well.
Right? Look in the archway.
Well, I tell you what, then this is obviously something that Simon has got to fix because he's trying to fix Pulse. Now he's got to fix cups.
Right?
Yeah.
So, So
a full rewrite of cups will do.
We'll send him a message in Biddle that he's now got 2 projects. So can he hurry up with Pulse?
Yeah, the log might tell you why it failed. I guess maybe.
Yeah, well, like I said, we spent a couple hours trying to get it working, and then another hour or 2 reformatting, and it was just like there's limited time to try things on it, and I was all tried out.
Is this a test?
Are you connected via USB or Ethernet?
USB.
Has it got an Ethernet port on it? Because I always find Ethernet's really reliable.
It does. It does have an Ethernet port on it.
Just a thought.
Yeah, just plug it in, maybe.
Yeah, it goes Ethernet through the router. Then you can, because a lot of times Cups is happier with network than direct connection.
Yeah, but my problem is like I said, when you open the printer settings, you can't even add a printer. Like it's grayed out. So I don't know if hooking it up to the Ethernet would do anything because you can't even connect. Like the cup service is not running, so you can't even connect it manually.
Right, and HP setup isn't going to work if the background Cups isn't
right.
I wonder if when you loaded the
problem.
What was that, Dan?
I wonder if when you loaded the HP driver, if that messed up your cups, though.
Yeah, but when I didn't install the HP drivers after I did the refresh install because it was running, and we even tested it. We printed a page, we did a scan, and it was all running without installing the HP, drivers. So I didn't try to install it then.
Weird.
So
Is this
the
your
cure
main
is
system?
every time you reboot Mate, have it do a system restore to the fresh install. Therefore, you've always got a working printer. You got to wait half an hour while it restores it.
Let me see if that's going to work out, Seb. No.
Okay.
What a
First
guy.
install printer, get time shift, make a backup, and then it's only 10 minutes between using your printer.
Is this your main system, Rocco, or just a test one?
This is that's actually my dad's machine. So
Oh, it's your dad's machine.
It's his main computer. So
Oh, this is the one that really used to work well on Peppermint.
yes,
Yeah, I see where you're going there.
He loved
Funny
Peppermint.
that.
Zeb, he loved Peppermint, all except the issue of not being able to get the windows in the center of the screen. And otherwise, he would probably still be on it.
Sounds
So
like a solution for i3.
Window slightly off center or printer working?
Yeah.
Take your pick.
Well, it depends on how many times you open a window compared to how many times you print.
Well, let him dual boot. That way he can have one of each.
You know, I was thinking about that. I
It's a
was
good
actually thinking about that. He's got a 120 gigabyte hard drive, and he doesn't use nearly any of that space. So I could partition that into 2 drives and do like Mate on one and Peppermint on the other, and just symlink his data. So he could have both.
Rocco,
There you go.
Install Peppermint on it and move his monitor off center. So actually,
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that was one thing that, I mean, that's something that bothers me regardless of what desktop environment it is. Like KDE, there's a specific setting. Like you can center the windows, but appearing when windows don't appear where they're supposed to appear, whether they appear on another monitor or whether they appear not in the center, that's enough to drive you crazy. So I feel for that part of it. So I'm with him on that. But other than that, he loved Peppermint. So
I'm pretty sure Elementary had a similar issue. The recent Elementary.
Elementary doesn't have any issues.
Yeah, that's not how it works. You can't have problems.
There are no problems in Elementary.
I had problems with HP as well because it wasn't up to date with the with all the lib and stuff on it.
Yeah, it didn't have the printerless driving.
Yeah, because it was still on 1604 base.
Printerless drivers, yeah. When is Juno coming out, Chicken?
When it's ready.
No.
Never ask for an update.
A lot of it is just like a lot of it right now, but that's why it's a developer ISO mostly, is that changing things for the new releases. You know, the app developer.
There's a distro challenge.
Bringing that up.
There's a distro challenge.
We'll see when we see
What's the distro challenge? Elementary?
Yeah.
It will be once it comes out.
It's on Juno, yeah, definitely.
Once Juno comes out. Yeah.
And we did the developer ISO a few weeks ago.
And I'm gonna bet that at least 2 people stay on Elementary after we try it.
not a chance.
I don't doubt it. I know I'll stay on Elementary after I try it.
He just lost that bet, EB, because it's Rocco and Chicken. There's the 2.
Before I go, I'm calling it right now. It will not be Rocco that stays on it.
Wow.
For more than 3 days.
Wow.
He loves that system tray.
I do love Elementary. The system tray notification thingy is going to be a downer.
I bet I could bring that back.
I seem to remember hearing
you
about
could.
the year of Solace or something like that.
Wow, dude.
Hey, it wasn't me this week.
Do we have to bring that up every week? I mean, it's wait. I did that in December of last year. I made that prediction, and it's now September
As soon
of
as
the
the
following
year is up,
year.
we will stop saying it.
No, you
get
won't,
warmed up for
because
the-
you'll be saying, "Oh, you remember when?"
The $5 in the post, Dustin. Thanks, mate.
Dustin, who asked you anyway, huh?
Everyone was thinking it. I just said it.
I know. But
So,
no,
Rocco, what's
yeah.
the first thing you do with Elementary? Is it put Mate desktop on it?
No. First thing I do is look at it and say, "Man, that's beautiful." That's the first
Now
thing I
have to
do.
wait- Now
Nope.
I have to wait to replace it with something else. Yeah.
No, but I think
Nuke and
I was super excited for Juno to come out. The only thing that I'm down on it now is the whole system tray problem,
What? That it's not there or it doesn't work?
where it's there. They removed it.
Yeah, it worked perfectly before. Like in the 1604 version, it was really, really good. Things scaled
Right, 'cause-
properly, but
Thanks, Gnome.
yeah.
Yeah. So that to me is like a deal breaker there. So I'm not quite as excited as I was, because I was 100% sure I was going to stay on Elementary, because I really love running Elementary the way it is. but
this
without that system tray.
Is this anything to do with the fact that your aimbot on ballistic overkill runs really well?
I don't know what you're talking about, EB.
That explains so much. So much.
It won't run on elementary. That's the problem. Okay.
Nah.
What, the aimbot or the game?
Yes.
Moving on.
By the way, Rocco, I think Ryan wants to chat in the not too distant future about a new aimbot that he's got.
Hmm. He can try, but it won't help him.
No, we got
I got your number, Rocco. I got your number.
You got my number?
Yeah.
No,
I
you
got
don't.
a new keyboard, so I'm gonna wreck
Oh yeah,
it.
what kind of keyboard you get?
It's a
One without any keys on it. Duh.
What is that, dude?
The heck
it's
is that?
it's a secondary macro keyboard thing.
Nice.
And, it actually
Does it work in Linux?
Yes.
24 black and 24 white. So you can remember which one to press.
Technically.
Exactly.
You can
yeah.
remember. Yeah.
Technically.
That's exactly
Tell
what
me
we
why
said.
you got that.
Macro is ability to make things faster and have more keys that I can use to do production.
No,
stuff.
I know that. I mean, I know what it is. I'm just asking why.
Oh, because the two keyboards was a little awkward and they won't sit next to each other. This will sit here.
It's
And
because he
yet-
doesn't have the MacBook Touch Bar, so he.
That's true. I don't have the touch bar. That's exactly the problem. I don't have a touch bar. What's really cool about this thing is that this button right here, you can't tell it because it, Anyway, this button right here is the profile switcher. So instead of 48 keys, technically it's 47. But with a switcher, I can have up to 188.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you got a couple profiles on there.
I do. I have 4.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And what software do you use in Linux to run this?
Oh, it's built into the actual thing.
So, you just
So
plug
it's
it
got
in and it
onboard
works.
memory or what?
So it like maps it to another key?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So it's got onboard memory.
How much did that thing cost you?
Like $60.
Tuxdigital.com/what?
Technically it doesn't exist yet.
Okay.
It will though.
Just go back in time a long
Oh my.
I'm doing a product review.
I had 2 of those.
Is this alongside the Icy Dock product review?
Yes.
Um,
That one's actually coming out this coming week.
wait,
so okay, it's not
didn't
that.
you watch the Icy Dock video? Zeb, wasn't it great?
I thought it was a little short.
It's a little short.
I thought it was a little short too.
A little short.
Surprised
That
it
one's
was
coming
a-
out. That one's coming out this
short.
week. This is coming out someday.
I'm hoping you're going to give me some tips on how to eject the SSDs.
Yeah, that's the problem. I've never seen, so all I can say is that I heard about it. But
Yeah, well, it's a problem. Just saying.
I will mention it in the show. Or the video.
I actually have an Icy Dock for the spinning drives, 2 of them, but I can only fit one of them in my tower because I refuse to take out the fans that are in front of the case. So I only have 2 spaces for. I removed the optical drive because I don't need that. But
Yeah.
I only have 2
Discs.
spaces, so I got the one Icy Dock with the 4 SSDs in it, and then I got one spinning Icy Dock thing in there. But I have another Icy Dock for a regular spinning hard drive that I can't fit in.
Is a spinning icy dock a spicy dock?
Yes.
I like it. I like
I plan on getting some from my old system that I'm turning into a server. My new case actually doesn't even have 5 1/4 inch bays.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I guess that's okay if you don't need them.
Don't need them on the new system, but I do want them for the server.
So the other way you could fit that, Rocco, is cut a little square hole for the cables to come through, stick the Icy Dock on top of the PC and some gaffer tape on top holding it down.
Sounds like a solid option.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That sounded like the secondary plan if we couldn't fit the subwoofer in my car. To the roof and point it
On the
in.
roof rack, yeah.
Yeah, you just need to raise the roof.
The grommets for water cooling, just route the cables through there.
Does anybody else find the PC case actually a restriction? Wouldn't it be easy to just drop the guts in your chest freezer? You're done, ain't you? What do you need liquid cooling for?
Right.
Hey,
Nice concentration issues,
you watch videos on YouTube of the like ridiculous types of cases people have like inside their desk and everything. It's insane.
Like
But
there's like the setup shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool.
I don't know. I built a computer in a milk crate once.
Why would you do that, Dave?
Cooling was great.
Yeah, great ventilation.
Yeah, never a problem there.
Well,
There's
this
a
is a
good
great
airflow.
case, and it's got a lot of room, a lot of features on it. But I mean, it puts off some serious heat.
Honestly, it's
what-
just so hot here. We use boiling water to cool it down.
Right. Well, that's why I don't want to remove the fans from the front, because I can't remove those fans. Otherwise, it'll take in more heat than it does already.
Yeah. That sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Now, Rocco, the discs that are getting stuck in your icy dock, are they the thicker ones or thinner, like the SSDs? Because the thick one gets stuck depending on which dock I slide it in. I have to put it in the middle ones. I can't do the top or bottom or it gets stuck. But the thinner ones in the SSDs will go in any of the 6.
It was actually only certain SSDs. Like I have, and I forget who was made by. I don't know if it was a Western Digital, or I can't remember which company it was. But I thought it was just the drive bay. So originally, when it got stuck in the drive bay, I couldn't get it out. So I ended up having to take the icy dock out, unscrew everything, pull the icy dock out, and even unscrew the icy dock screws from itself, and kind of open it up and then slide it out. So I went through all that and put it all back in, because the other drives didn't have a problem sliding in and out. So what I did was then I just flipped them and put it in and moved them around. So I put it in another drive bay, and it did the exact, after I had got it all back together, it did the exact same thing and got stuck again. I'm like, oh,
sweet.
Yeah, and I've got 2 different types of SSDs in mine. One's a SanDisk 120 gig, and the other one's a Kingston 120 disk, and all 4 of them are stuck now.
I've done Kingston and SanDisk and something called SP, and they seem to be fine.
Have you tried?
Kingston AMD, and I haven't had any issues.
Is it?
Have you tried putting a hairdryer on the icy dock? The clue's in the name there. Maybe it flows into position.
Is it getting too hot that things are expanding and the drives are getting stuck? Is that a problem?
No, because this is like at the front of the case, right underneath the fans, and there's not much heat right there.
I mean, but tinfoil expands like really low temperatures. So.
Yeah, but like I said, I flip these
but that's his
in and
hat,
out.
not his discs.
I flip these discs in and out of each different slot of the icy dock. So some of the drives have no problem going in and out of the dock itself, and then some drives do. I don't know what the difference is.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know how to fix it.
Yeah, I've got a few SanDisk and a couple of Samsung, and so far it's been smooth in and out. But hopefully it'll stay that way. I don't know. Time will
Is
tell, I
this?
guess.
Sorry, is this the particular model, the MB524 SP-B?
Yes, of course it is.
Okay.
The one I have is got 6 bays, so whatever that number is. I don't know.
Yes, it is, Michael. That one.
I have the one with the 4 bays.
Okay.
So that one there, Rocco. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the same number you gave out, Michael.
All right. Cool.
I just got a computer with like 48 slots, so I mean,
It was from your link, Michael.
Well, that's good.
Anybody
Unfortunately,
else?
it's not good. It's not
Anybody
working
else?
right, but that's weird.
Anybody else? Sorry, Michael. Carry on.
No, it's fine.
All
I was going to say is that I'm sorry. It was too easy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's your 5-hour advert up to 10.
Well, I'll have you know that I got kicked out of the Amazon affiliate program.
Oh,
wow.
Because I didn't get enough.
I was the only one buying things.
Yeah.
That's not true. I bought some.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So they said no.
They didn't give you anything, or did they give you what you made and then?
They didn't give me nothing.
Wow.
They said you're on a trial period or whatever when you first start, and you have to have so many sale thingies.
Just set the date on your computer back a little bit before you open the website.
Right.
That'll work.
Totally works.
I mean, once they deny you, you can try again. You got like another 180 days for it to get again.
Right. I didn't get it in the first 180 days. What makes you think I'm going to get it in the second 180
It's
days?
perseverance, sir. Perseverance.
Well, yeah, you're not going to do it with that attitude.
On every
I'll
single
say.
time you appear on YouTube.
I was gonna say, or just shameless shelf plugging by like Michael. You know,
I don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
No. What happens is I give my affiliate link out, but Michael's always giving his link out, so everybody clicks on his.
I don't know what you're talking about. I do not promote anything. I'm a very calm person who's always just very shy about selling stuff.
Right.
ontuxdigital.com/Amazon.
Exactly.
There's no fake news there.
Just a quick one for you. While we've got such a pool of Linux talent online, I'd just like to say, Basilisk. Anybody tried it? Any thoughts or opinions on it?
I'm not a Harry Potter fan. Sorry.
Okay.
Not the rumor around the internet, chicken. I have to say.
Dungeons and Dragons. Hello.
I've just had DZME say, Steve, you should really run Basilisk. Don't run Firefox. And I've put Basilisk on my Pep and it looks lovely, but I didn't know if any of you any experience with it. Why it's so good?
Well, it's basically just based on Firefox. It's based on the newer versions of Firefox, and they are the same team that makes Pale Moon makes Basilisk.
Yep.
Their goal is to basically, realize that Pale Moon is super old, and they have to get rid of that architecture in order to stay up with the modern web. So instead of just trying to rebuild Pale Moon, they're going to make Basilisk. Basilisk will do the same kind of thing that Pale Moon did for the newer versions of Firefox. I don't think it's actually based on the Quantum thing, though. I think it's based on like 2 or 3 versions before they switched to Quantum. But it's still a cool one.
Is it still just a 1 or 2 man band though?
I think it's a small amount. I don't remember exactly how many, but it's a very small amount.
But my question is why would you use it over Firefox Quantum? What's the reason for it?
42.
Does it not spew data to Firefox or something?
Firefox doesn't do that either, but pretty much that's the reason people have. I mean, there's also I'm pretty sure Basilisk is also, because it's based on the older version before the Quantum. All the extensions that you couldn't use on the new Firefox can be used on that.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, I was gonna say that's what the Wikipedia entry has for uses the XUL stuff and XPM com.
But at some point, they're going to they're going to be in the same boat, right?
Eventually, yeah. Same exact thing that Pale Moon has. Pale Moon was forked on 24 Firefox, and the code is just so ancient now that, I mean, they're maintaining it, but then they've also modified a lot of it, but there's so much to do with such a small team. It's just not really feasible. So the same thing will eventually happen with Basilisk, but maybe
Good thing we're so good at building boats.
Your father had an issue with Firefox, did he, Rocco, with the extensions, wasn't it?
Yeah, he actually runs Pale Moon, and he brought up the same thing. He wants to check out Basilisk as well.
Okay, thanks very much, guys. Bless you.
I mean, it has
trying to
potential.
get going with web extensions in it in Gecko target mode, it says. So they are trying to actually move forward with what a lot of people think is the future of web browsers.
Steve Jobs is
doing that, or Pale Moon doing that?
Basilisk.
Okay.
I'm on their website.
Okay. So everything I'm saying is based on my memory of it, but it's Basilisk is like, if they're trying to do that too, then that's great, because they're trying to do both essentially.
Yeah, it says experimental support for web extensions in Gecko target mode. Please note that some Mozilla specific web extension APIs are not yet available. So they are working on it. Support for WebAssembly is already in.
And it's based on Firefox 56, because it was the Firefox 57 that dropped the XUL.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that's an interesting situation. I think that has more reasonable likelihood to continue versus Waterfox, because they're basically doing the same thing, except it's like one person. And they were, I don't know if Waterfox has actually abandoned the idea of the separation of keeping Zool or not. But because they haven't. If you go to the Waterfox website, they don't really explain the real difference between it and Firefox. So
yeah, but they're in the same boat as updating. And
if they keep it though, if they ignore the Zool thing and just go ahead and go with the regular Firefox and then remove certain features, like they have been doing the entire time, but they promoted their features of keeping different add-ons. So, and now I can't find that promotion of this stuff. So it's like I don't know what they're doing because they haven't really explained it. But what's more important is Firefox is awesome. Just use Firefox.
No, Firefox is not awesome.
What? You don't love the fact that they're removing descriptions from your bookmarks? Don't you love that? Don't you love that?
I didn't even. I mean, I know they had a description thing, but I thought that was just like if some nerd was going through the text file of the bookmarks and wanted to see what it was.
That's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much what it is. It's just to keep track of it's basically notes for you for your describing the thing. But I think the title describes what it is anyway. So
Well, on Nightly, isn't there? There's one of the certificate authorities that had issues, and the Nightly version of Firefox will not let you go to any website that has a certificate issued by that authority, including things like PayPal. So when I'm running Nightly, I got to switch over to a different browser to go to PayPal. Because the certificate authority, Symantec, I think it was before they recently got sold to DigiCert.
Symantec was garbage, though.
Yeah, because of their subcontractors were giving out all kinds of garbage certificates.
Yeah.
But recently, Symantec got purchased by DigiCert, and so they're trying to get it sorted out and straightened out.
Right.
But still, the latest versions of Firefox Nightly, any certificate, any site with an HTTPS certificate issued by Symantec, it will not let you connect to.
And that's kind of good.
Yeah, and Google's moving the same way. It's still 6 months out in the regular editions before it hits the regular users. But it's still annoying that.
I agree. That's annoying. I think it's kind of like. It's weird that it still says DigiCert and they haven't just reissued new certs. It's really weird.
Well, I think part of the problem is the websites have to go to DigiCert to ask them to reissue because DigiCert will reissue. It's just they haven't asked yet. And
that's really important then.
I don't think enough people have complained yet because it hasn't hit regular users yet. It won't until because I think the Nightly is on 63 or 64, and the regular release is still on 61 or 62.
I think it just went to 62, and Nightly should be 65.
4 or 5.
65, because it's regular. Then there's the beta. Then there's the developer mode, and then there's the Nightly.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be.
There's a nice message for you from Chip, Michael, in chat.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Okay, so who do I kick? Okay.
Family friendly, Michael. Family friendly.
I see. Now that's how dare you?
That's all he's got.
Well, I mean, Ubuntu is fantastic, so that's fine if you don't like the neon. It's okay.
No, he's Chip's a Manjaro KD guy.
Oh, okay. I see. I feel sorry for your loss. That's your data and your ability to boot.
How many people have tried Kubuntu anyway? Because I haven't tried it.
Kubuntu, what, 1804?
Yeah, I haven't tried it.
It's fantastic.
I'm running it at work. Yeah,
I'm not biased in any way whatsoever. It's fantastic.
It's so good you won't keep using it.
Yeah. I would love to say that Kubuntu was awesome. And I guess it is in some ways, but maybe it's the plasma version
right there. It's great, awesome in some ways.
But maybe it's the plasma version, Michael, that Kubuntu runs with my hardware. I don't know, but I seem to have way more crashing and way more issues with Kubuntu than I do Neon.
Could be that version. I don't know. It could also be the Qt dependencies not being rolled.
For me, just compared to how 1604 was, Kubuntu 1804 is beautiful. Like
Yep,
it's great.
1604 to 1804 is massive difference, and I'm not biased.
Not at all.
I'm loving the KD Neon Bionic Plasma 513.
I mean, I think the preview for Neon is going to be good, and I think that there's definitely a place for Neon, and I think there's a place for Kubuntu as well. I think Neon is fantastic for not new users. I think Kubuntu is great for new users. So if you want a rolling DE thing on Ubuntu, that Neon is good. If you want a the out-of-the-box experience to not be garbage, then Kubuntu is a good one.
I mean, the Plasma LTS 512 is great, but they always introduce some new features in the next one that's like, I should go for the next release.
So what you're saying is squirrel.
Yes, that's exactly
No,
what you're
not
saying.
squirrel,
Arch.
I'm just going to point out, you say that like you don't want garbage. I want garbage on my system all the time.
Is that why you distro hop?
Yeah, it gives him an excuse to nuke and pave.
Ask him what he's on now.
Elementary.
Oh, you guys
My
aren't going
dear
to want
Watson.
the answer to that question.
Ask Chicken what he's running right now.
No, guys.
Shark Linux.
Hey, Chicken, what are you running now?
I'm actually on Windows 10 right now.
I'm
I'm going to talk about a
Really?
rolling distribution right there.
Michael, can we get some digital stocks to put chicken in? Because that's just
absolutely
incredible.
I'm actually doing it for
Is that why
testing
his video's
purposes.
a little blurry?
I noticed his audio wasn't as good as Pulse.
Definitely not. No.
Hey, he's running Windows 10 and absolutely berating Plasma. Really? Really? Wow.
I was gonna say, Chicken, you're the one with rainbow colored throw up on your start menu there, buddy. With ads, no less.
Because I think we
So
were
just one. Sorry, Colin. Carry on.
we were discussing last week, Michael, about online accounts for Plasma, which they don't work. Is that correct? In Plasma?
New topic?
Yeah.
They don't work the way they should.
They're only
But I
there
would-
because they wanted to participate, not because
they're not. That's not necessarily. I mean,
Yes, that's it.
There are certain things that are happening that make it not as functional.
I like how Twitter is an option, but there's no Twitter app anyway.
No. You know who has a Twitter app?
There's a Twitter app. It's called
The guy in the White House?
Quitter.
It's called Chiquak, I think.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I think he's right.
Does it work?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Not anymore, seeing as how they changed the API.
I mean, it probably will work, sort of, maybe. I mean, it didn't work that well in the first place, anyway. So, like, whatever.
Isn't everybody on Mastodon now anyway?
Yeah, that's the new hotness.
But just like the mammoths of old, it's gonna die.
Wow.
And
Wow.
just like
Are you saying
Chicken,
you
if
don't shoot every day?
Just like you will as well, Chicken, if you keep eating those jerkies. I keep
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
the reaction
This is
to
what-
yeah.
Are they hot?
Oh gosh, they're really hot, but it's a good way to burn calories.
And that's why his face is the same color as his shirt.
I paid $10 for this. I have to eat it.
All right, so please.
You paid $10 for it, but didn't you get it again?
No, this is the same bag I've had.
Oh my god!
Really?
Wow.
Nice.
So please tell us, what is the reason of the testing of Windows 10?
So I'm actually looking at so there's been some bumps in terms of a couple things. One is performance improvements for stuff on AMD's Ryzen platform.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking into that. I'm just kind of cross comparing them on my particular hardware. But also, oh God, this is hot.
It's hot stuff tonight.
Something about they had like new mobile integration stuff that they're working on, and I wanted to test that and see how we're doing with KDE Connect.
Connect is better.
I like Connect.
I mean, I haven't tried the Windows thing, but KDE Connect's better.
Of course it is.
My girlfriend's gonna eat some of the Reaper jerky.
So what does
Good luck with
everybody
that.
think about Winblow's new announcement then about Windows 7? Is it a storm in the teacup or not even worth raising an eyebrow over?
I didn't
What
see the news.
announcement?
Uh-oh.
As of
support thing.
Yeah, as of
We have to see the
2020.
reaction chicken.
As of what?
As of
2020, I
2020,
think it is.
if you want to continue to use Microsoft Windows 7, you will have to pay Microsoft a monthly fee to do so.
Yeah, that's
Oh, well, they've been talking about Microsoft as a service for a couple months now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Well,
definitely supposed to be a Windows 10 thing.
especially as Chicken's now on the Winblows, I just wondered how he felt about a
That's interesting.
No, what it is, it's
Trying to force everybody up to Windows 10.
It's exactly the same as what they've done with the XP, where if you want support for their old aging operating system, they will support you up until 2023 on Windows 7 if you pay them a subscription for the security updates.
It's like an enterprise thing.
But the end of life, but the end of life is still 2020 for the poor mortals that are still running it. So there you go.
Poor mortals.
It's just storming the clip. It really is.
So, Chicken, was that your
Pathetic.
girlfriend?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was
So
trying
how-
to get her off.
How did you manage that?
How is she doing with the?
I know a Linux user with a girlfriend. What?
How is she doing with the?
You
jerky?
also lack the beard.
Chicken, what's more worrying is she's the absolute spit for sysadmin girl on YouTube.
We needed to see the reaction from the jerky, man.
Oh, she's crying in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's the light you see behind me.
Nice.
Since I also have a dual boot with Windows 10, I have a question for you guys, because one of the main things that I keep that around for is it is much easier to integrate into Google Drive with apps on Windows 10 than it is in Linux. What Overgrieve, InSync are iffy, spotty, depending on which distro I'm on, which one I have to use. Does anybody have a suggestion for a solid way to integrate with Google Drive so I can get rid of, especially now that Steam has Proton, that I can get rid of my Windows drives?
There's no solid way.
I'm sorry, Dreaming. Unless it's a cup HP printer issue, we're not giving it airtime.
Okay, sorry. My bad.
The issue is that Google said they were going to make a Linux version of G Drive. Let's see.
How many years ago?
7 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
I mean, I know a Camo Fuse that you can now, they have that so that you can actually mount it, but that's kind of a pain.
Well, I visit their forum
called InSync. There's an application called InSync that works.
Yeah, but InSync
I think
is
you're
very
referring to back
spotty
to
on different distros as to whether it works and whether the icon shows up in the status bar. And
okay.
Yeah.
I do visit their forum page every now and then in case I need to laugh.
So there is a KO slave for Plasma that does access Google Drive, called KOG Drive, I can see. I'm just looking through the repo, actually.
The Keo might work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there is any solid, this is what works everywhere application.
The best
There just
place
isn't.
Google Drive works on Linux is Peppermint with Ice.
So web.
Python 3 data.
Great shout, Chicken. Great. It's great.
I use it all the time. It's actually my
You do.
favorite way to
If
access
you
it.
use Ice SSB, you're done.
Yeah.
And unlike the IC dock, nothing gets stuck.
Oh, well played.
Way to pull it all together. Prophetic. What's going on?
What's up? I just watched the most incredible fight. So
Why
good.
you wanna fight?
No
dude?
spoilers. No spoilers.
And I'm not talking about Zeb and fighting with somebody else. And on
No
in the group.
spoilers.
no,
No
it's so
spoilers.
good.
I'll be watching it after the show.
Oh, okay, good. I won't say
Was that
anything.
the Austin versus Linus Tech fight? That
I think they're referring to KSI versus Logan Paul.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's referring to Landuke versus Patreon. Is that?
There you go.
Ooh, I was gonna say something. I'm gonna be good, prophetic, and hold back. Right, Dark One. I'm gonna be good and not say anything with that.
You're
but
asking
no.
Dark One? What?
Yeah, you're asking Dark One to hold
Dark
you
One
back?
knows how I feel about that particular person. So he.
I'm the last person you want to ask for on that one.
Yeah. Me and him had some interesting conversations about that particular YouTuber. But yeah, but it was a great fight and it was awesome, and I'm pumped. And now I'm like so amped. I'm like super up, and I can't go to sleep anytime soon.
Linux.
Yeah. Well, so naturally, the thing to do is to release my adrenaline is to join BDL.
Yeah, you know it. As we're about to end,
I know exactly.
4 minutes before it closes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he made it.
But he made it. That's all that counts. Hey,
Yeah.
did you happen to try Karora this week or no?
No, I didn't. I have no time, but I heard it was really hard to even install. So I'm actually glad I passed up on this one.
Did
You were
hear
doing
the new
real
one?
life
The
stuff.
one next week is going to be Shark Linux.
Oh boy.
No, it's not. Stop.
No, it's not.
Okay, good. I was like, even I didn't know that one.
No, it's LMDE3.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
So we already asked it, or we already went through this with everybody else. What was your first distro?
Oh man, Ubuntu 9.04.
Nice.
And I actually ordered the CD. Like
Wow.
when you used to order it for free. And then by the time it came to me, I already learned how to download an ISO, burn it. And so I totally forgot about that CD was coming in. And I didn't know anything about Linux or open source. I didn't believe it that it would send me one. So I was like, it's probably not coming. And so when I got it, I was like, this company's pretty cool. They just gave me a free CD with the operating system on it. And I was, by that time, it was like 9.10 I was on.
Did
Yeah.
they have like 10,000 discs from AOL?
To be fair for them, they were asked about at least a few thousand people to send them discs and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. Once I read up on it, it was like I get the context, but it was so I was so new. It was so funny, my expectations and what was normal back then. But yeah, that was my first. And I love the orange brown. I don't know, I love the orange brown days.
Well, that'd be cool if they
one
actually
of the-
changed it
maybe
every
like
once in
two.
every 10 years.
This should.
I think like the canonical method of doing that was really cool because it was like it gave people who were willing to wait an easier example to try it out something, and so they didn't have like a connection or something. It'd have been much better if they had existed like 5 years prior, or
Well, they did. Well, I've got a 510 or something
no,
like
I
that.
mean in
around
the
here
sense of
somewhere.
like 5 years prior to their existence, when it actually would have been like way
Oh,
more important. Like because once you got into like the 2005-ish era, it wasn't as bad. You could still get you could download stuff. It wasn't that big a deal.
Right.
And then, but like even in the 90s, the discs were way more important. It'd been like
Yes.
it'd have been huge.
Yes.
400 meg download took 6 days.
Just let it rip, let it go. Yeah, it took forever.
I remember when I
Now I
first,
got 50 gigs in 8 hours.
Oh yeah, I remember when I first got into it. It was like I was on DSL, so I would start with downloading the Ubuntu ISO and leave it overnight.
Yeah, that's what you had.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
54. What is it? 54K dial-up.
Yeah, there was
I think
it
I
was
dropped out at 52.
I
at
shouldn't worry
Kmart.
about it because Chicken's new series is Man versus Food by the look of it.
I'm going to go for it.
It was Blue something at Kmart. I forget what it was called. It was a disc they handed out. It was a free disc for
Juno.
For internet.
Juno. It was Juno Internet, right? Or
Did somebody say Juno?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I think it was CompuServe.
Is that Juno?
But it was a free disc.
Elementary.
And it was like ad supported internet.
Totally
that you
forgot
could get.
Junos existed.
Yeah, dude.
Sorry.
Someone had that email.
Was it Earthlink? Earthlink did that for a while too, right?
It had Blue something in the name. It was.
Oh, was it?
There was Blue something.
Earthlink was good. I started with Earthlink.
I thought you were describing the color of it. I don't remember a company with just the word blue in their name.
No, that was the internet company
Right.
name. Like it was Blue
Huh.
something, and it was a free internet disc. It was awesome.
I'm actually kind of disappointed that if it was at Kmart, they should have Blue Light Special as the name of it.
That's what I'm. That's like I guess it was a play off of that, but it was funny.
Every kiss begins with K.
Mart.
On that note, everybody gets the last word. Zeb.
Big Daddy Linux Live for the win every Saturday night. It's the single best YouTube show on the planet.
Nice.
In spite of letting me in.
Ali?
Yeah, it's been a pleasure being here. Going to be here next week reviewing the LMD8. I'm looking forward to that, actually. I've heard good reviews, raves about it already, so I'm looking forward to that particular one.
Nice.
See you next week.
Chicken?
I recommend following
Is it-
anything.
I just got a question. Is it still hot?
It's still hot. I'm trying to wash it down with anything I can. Liquids don't work.
Eat bread. You need to absorb it.
That's not burning carbohydrates if you keep eating them.
Watch him not have a girlfriend next week because what he did.
Yeah.
his last word for next week is going to be like, "Do you guys know anyone who's?"
He'll use it as a platform to apologize. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. But no, tonight I will be installing Linux on my girlfriend's MacBook, and that's going to be fun.
What are you going to be installing?
We're going to go with straight Ubuntu for now, just see how it works, and then see what we can do from there, depending on how well it goes.
Nice.
Does she know that's going to happen, or are you just going to?
You're going to do the same that you did like Best
My
Buy.
initial plan was just to surprise her, but she's on board. She's on board.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
She's a keeper.
Tyler, last word.
First time being on a live stream. It was fun. I will probably end up setting up LMDE on the ThinkPad and on the spare SSD on my Galago. Give that see how that goes with high DPI.
Nice.
Nice.
Colin.
PC TLC on the awesome Big Daddy Linux Live.
Nice. Dan.
Hey, Karora was fun, and looking forward to LMDE.
Yes.
Matt?
LMD should be interesting. Haven't been on Linux Mint anything for quite a while.
Oh, God.
I'll leave my opinions till next week.
He already has them for sure.
John?
It's been fun tonight, guys. I'll be doing LMD as soon as we're done. So I'll
All
be
right.
here next week.
Nice.
Awesome. Climby?
Yeah, love this show. I'm really glad I was able to come on tonight. Definitely try to be back on next week. Really looking forward to LMD. I haven't tried it since the very first release of LMD, and that was early days of Cinnamon. So it'll be nice to try it again, see how much Cinnamon's improved as a desktop environment.
Well, let me ask you, do you have different hard drives you put it on, or you got different machines you put it on? You're testing.
I use my main computer right now is it's a gaming laptop I got from 2013. And I just hook a 1440p monitor up to external mouse and keyboard. I have a 256 gig mSATA SSD that I partition, and I dual boot with Windows because I play a lot of games. But I just nuke and pay for the most part. Just wipe that partition.
That's how it's done. If you're not putting your main system at risk, you're not doing it right.
Linux is supposed to hurt.
Yeah, you always say that.
That's why they call it growing pains.
Yeah, I gotta keep my main system stable for Euro Truck Simulator, you know?
Right? Pete. You're not working, man. Your volume's not working or something.
You must be singing the praise of Linux Mint.
The only option.
Dusky's cat got to his chords.
He's looking for the cat, yep.
Or bars.
All right, EB.
Yeah, I'd just like to say many thanks for another great live stream, the best on the internet, and round off by saying ICDoc makes your drives about as immovable as tuxdigital.com.
I moved just slowly.
Pete.
Hey, can you hear me?
You're a little low, but we can
yeah.
I've just been getting back to doing some distro hopping. That's the problem with having a microphone that's battery powered.
Yep.
There you go.
Dave.
Greatest show on the planet, and Karora Linux for the swing and a miss.
Exactly. Michael.
Touchdigital.com/destination Linux.
Nice.
/BDLL.
or
Combination like there. Well, that works too, but it's a combination.
DestinationLinux.org/tuxdigital.
Tuxed up.
I didn't make that.
Infinite loop.
Oh, that would be great. That would make everyone
Bounce.
No one
Tuck-
would hate you for that.
Tuck stop.
Much.
Last word.
Oh, thanks for the YouTube channel. It's wonderful. Long live open source community.
Woo. You got it.
Hoorah.
Prophetic, last word.
Destination Linux with the Fedora episode was top notch. Keep them coming. Thanks so much. And it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. This was probably the best BDLL I had tonight.
Yeah.
And I was only
yeah.
for this.
At least the 4 minutes that you were here. All right, last word for me is thank you guys for showing up. And don't forget to join the BDLL Telegram group, t.me/BigDaddyLinksLive. All right, we'll see you all next week.
Peace.
See everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you guys.
Thanks, Rox.